Have you ever sat across from someone, and felt like you were only meeting their surface? Their words were polite, their smile was perfect, but something inside you whispered, "This is not the full story." Our elders used to say, "You will not know a soul by their words, but by their silence." It took me years to understand what that meant. Because when we are young, we listen to words. When we grow older, we begin to listen to what people cannot say. In this world, most people do not show their truth. Not because they are liars, but because they are scared. They have been hurt, misunderstood, judged. So they built a mask, piece by piece, and now, even they cannot remember what their real face looks like. This is not deceive. This is survival. A man once came to visit me, proud and cheerful. He spoke loudly about his success, made jokes about his critics, laughed at his own pain. But in the moments between the laughter, his fingers trembled ever so slightly. His shoulders never truly relaxed. And when the room became silent, he would rush to fill it with another story. That, my friend, was the mask trembling. We live in a world of practiced personas. People say, "I'm fine," when they are exhausted, "I'm happy," when they feel hollow, "I don't care," when they care deeply but are too ashamed to admit it. And the saddest part, they are not lying to you. They are lying to themselves. The first sign of truth is tension. Watch how someone reacts when their opinion is questioned. Notice the sudden smile that disappears too fast. Pay attention to the way their voice tightens when a topic touches a nerve. I once asked a friend, "Do you think you are truly over her?" He laughed. Said, "Of course, I moved on years ago." But then he gripped his cup a little too hard. He looked away, eyes unfocused, and quickly changed the subject. That was not confidence. That was a wound trying to wear armor. Silence also reveals more than words. When someone gives you a short, practiced answer to a deep question, that is not control, that is fear. You ask someone, "What makes you feel safe?" And they say, "Oh, I don't think about that." But their eyes blink too fast. Their jaw tightens. And in that pause, in that silence, you hear the scream they have never let out. A wise woman once told me, "People who avoid vulnerability are not cold. They are just tired of being hurt." If you want to read someone, do not listen only to what they say. Listen to the words they avoid. Listen to how they retreat when the room goes quiet. That is where the truth whispers. And the longer a person wears the mask, the more they become it. This is what our elders feared the most. That people would wear the mask for so long. They would forget who they were before the pain. Let me give you an example. There was a teacher in my village. Strict, precise, always in control. She was feared more than loved. But once, I saw her alone after school. She was sitting with her hands folded tightly, staring at a paper she had graded. It was full of red ink, but her eyes were wet. Not from disappointment in the student, but in herself. Later, I learned that when she was a child, she was punished for every small mistake. She grew up believing that perfection was safety. Now, she passed that fear to every child in her class. Not because she was cruel, but because she had never known softness. This is the danger of the mask. When we use it to protect ourselves, we often end up hurting others. Unintentionally, we teach others to fear what we fear, to wear armor where they need healing. In relationships, this is where most heartbreak begins. One partner performs strength, the other performs indifference. And between them lies a silence where love used to be. You see, when people say, "Why does he never open up?" Or, "Why does she always pretend everything is fine?" The answer is rarely in the present. It is hidden in the mask they learned to wear decades ago. And that is why we must not read people with judgment. We must read them with compassion. A boy who brags too much is not arrogant. He might just be afraid of being forgotten. A woman who flirts with everyone but connects with no one may be terrified of being abandoned. A friend who disappears every time you get close might not be careless, but conditioned to believe closeness brings pain. When we are young, we think reading people is about spotting lies. When we grow wiser, we realize it is about spotting fear. And if you learn to see fear, you can finally stop personalizing it. You stop saying, "She ignored me because I don't matter," and start understanding, "She has been ignored for so long, she does not know how to receive care." So how do we go deeper? Our elders believed in stillness, in sitting quietly with someone until the performance fades, in offering presence, not pressure. Because only when people feel safe do they begin to remove the mask. A man who once hated being touched later shared that he had been harmed as a child. No one knew, but the tension in his body had been telling that story for years. He did not need to be fixed. He needed to be seen without being forced. But this is where most people misunderstand. They think showing up with advice is helpful. They offer solutions when what is needed is silence. They ask for answers when what is needed is time. Our elders used to say, "Not every wound should be touched. Some just need warm company." I remember a boy from my village. He never spoke much. Children thought he was strange. But one day, an old monk sat beside him under a tree. They said nothing for hours. And when the monk left, the boy began to hum. That was the first sound of healing. No diagnosis. No lecture. Just presence. People do not always need to be told who they are. They need someone patient enough to wait for them to remember. And that is the hidden beauty of reading people like an elder. It is not about being clever. It is about being kind. It is not about knowing. It is about noticing. Because sometimes, the greatest gift you can offer is this: "I see you. I am not afraid of what you carry. You are safe here." But this is where most people misunderstand. They think showing up with advice is helpful. They offer solutions when what is needed is silence. They ask for answers when what is needed is time. Our elders used to say, "Not every wound should be touched. Some just need warm company." I remember a boy from my village. He never spoke much. Children thought he was strange. But one day, an old monk sat beside him under a tree. They said nothing for hours. And when the monk left, the boy began to hum. That was the first sound of healing. No diagnosis. No lecture. Just presence. People do not always need to be told who they are. They need someone patient enough to wait for them to remember. And that is the hidden beauty of reading people like an elder. It is not about being clever. It is about being kind. It is not about knowing. It is about noticing. Because sometimes, the greatest gift you can offer is this: I see you. I am not afraid of what you carry. You are safe here. So, dear listener, here is what I ask of you. Next time you feel like someone is too hard to read, too closed off, too proud, too cold, pause. And ask not what they are showing, but what they are hiding to feel safe. Reading people is not a power. It is a responsibility. Because once you can see someone's pain, you can no longer treat them like a stranger. You begin to hold space for their truth, even if they cannot speak it yet. Let us return to where we began. Have you ever looked at someone and felt like you were only meeting their surface? You were. But now, you know how to see deeper. Now, you know the tension, the silence, the performance. They are not random. They are reflections of pain, patterns of protection, signs of someone trying their best to survive. And once you learn to see through the mask, you do not see less. You see more. And perhaps, you begin to take off your own. If this touched something in you, if you have ever seen a mask crack, and witnessed the real person beneath, tell me in the comments. Let us share those moments that made us feel closer to truth. Let us learn from each other, gently, like our elders did. And if you want to go deeper, subscribe. Because next time, we will explore how people's deepest wounds shape the roles they play. And how understanding their pain might be the most healing thing you ever do. Until then, be kind. Not just to others, but to the masks they wear to survive.